Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. Today we're discussing a rose gold 500-piece limited edition from Zenith of Switzerland. This is the Zenith El Primero Striking 10th Chronograph. Again, this is a 500-piece limited edition, and the specification you see here, 42 millimeters in diameter. It is 13.1 millimeters thick. From lug tip to lug tip, 50.4 millimeters and 21 millimeters the spacing between the lugs. Zenith would later start to call this the Chronomaster case. So if you think this looks like a Chronomaster El Primero, you're absolutely right. Throwing it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see it's a big watch. Although a 42, it wears more like a 43 or even a 44. So I'm going to recommend you have a wrist at least my size to wear this. I think you really do need a 16 centimeter circumference wrist and up to make the most of the watch. It's flat enough to fit underneath the cuff. It's really not that thick, but it is broad, and you can see that well from over the top where the lugs are right out to the edge of my wrist. I think when lugs go over the edge of your wrist, that's a no-go. Here we have a semi-gloss, medium rectangular scale, black alligator leather strap. It has a monotone stitch. It has inlaid rubber on the underside to protect the leather from the moisture, sweat, heat, and grit of your wrist. It's also very supple to feel on the wrist. And you can see there's a broad folded edge to the strap. These rubber inlays on the bottom of modern Zenith straps are delightful. The strap lasts a lot longer, and you're going to be a lot more comfortable. We have the Zenith Star logo on a rose gold buckle. Get a lot of questions. How do you pronounce the name of this company? Is it Zenith? Is it Zenith? Is it Zenith? Well, it's actually Zenith. That's actually how the Swiss would pronounce it. And I'm going to take what is the diplomatic US pronunciation, Zenith, because it gets closer to the correct name. It doesn't sound pretentious in casual conversation, and it clearly distinguishes the watch from Zenith TVs and electronics. So, taking a quick look at the case, indeed, this would later become the Chronomaster case. It's a monoblock. If you look closely, you can see that the bezel and the case are all one piece. So everything loads through the case back. The result is a seamless aesthetic topside where there are no assembly seams between bezel and case because they're all one piece. The case is polished. It has satination on the lug hoods. There are little bevels on the profiles of the lugs. The bezel itself is very narrow and almost flat. It has a very shallow conical profile, and then the lugs are squared off at each end. We have a Zenith Star on the crown. We have pump-style pushers, and they thought of everything. There's even a little kerf underneath the crown so you can dig your nail in more easily. 100-meter water resistance. The dial using the company's traditional overlapping tri-registers, but here we have the striking 10th complication. So the El Primero, which was the original integrated high-beat automatic winding chronograph back in 1969, one of the first automatic chronographs, but it's always going to be officially the first integrated automatic high-beat because there are disputes about who had the first auto ready for market. All the same, this was one of the plank owners in that class. But with 1/10 of a second resolution and small scales, it was often difficult to read to the 10th of a second on an El Primero. So, in 2010, this striking 10th system was launched, and what it does is it uses a broader angular sweep to depict tenths of seconds. So this is a 10-second sweep of the dial. Every 10 seconds, this foudroyant hand makes a full circuit. The result is that you spread 1 second over larger angular travel, which makes it easy for me to read that, for example, this was 4 1/2 of a second elapsed. Now, you do lose the chrono hour counter. There is a chrono seconds counter on a 60-second scale right here, and then there is a 60-minute scale just below the hands, and I actually like chronographs that have 60-minute scale. I often wish that I had a 60-minute scale on more chronographs, because what if you need to time something that's 38, 37, 41, 53 minutes? It's great to have a 60-minute scale. I don't miss the loss of the hour counter. Hours are easy to keep track of. Tenths of seconds and minutes a little bit tougher. Constant seconds resides over at 9 o'clock. By the way, The watch is running just fine. Something about the frame rate of the video is creating this bizarre appearance that the hand is oscillating back and forth. When I look at it with my eyes, I don't see it. When I look through the camera's viewfinder, I do see it. So just FYI, that's not real. Now, turn out the light. Plenty of lume, not the chronograph functions, but you can definitely tell the time. We have an overlap of registers, which is a traditional Zenith signature. You have the striking 10th scale outboard. You have rose gold plated hands and applied faceted hour indices. And then you have a silver sunburst for the center dial. Flip it all over. You can see we have individual numbering here. And then we have the Zenith caliber, and this is the Zenith caliber 4052. If you're ever wondering what caliber is in your Zenith, remember, it's in the reference number, 4052. Funky stuff going on here. You can see that there is a 100-tooth silicon wheel that's used to create the striking 10th system. Automatic winding, bidirectional, 50 to 52 hour power reserve, 36,000 vibrations per hour, which comes out to 10 beats per second. That's why we have that striking 10th system. You can see there is a lateral clutch, and the lateral clutch is controlled by a column wheel, which you can see right there. It is a very crisp and positive feeling column wheel. All this pivots on 31 joules. Because the lateral clutch is visible and easy to see, the El Primero has always been one of the most beautiful automatic winding chronograph calibers. And keep in mind, this is not a handsome genre. Most automatic winding chronograph calibers are ugly. They can be as ugly as a Lemania 5100, but even in something like a Rolex 4130, you don't get the beauty of the lateral clutch. You don't actually see it. And now that that Rolex Daytona has a display case back, you're starting to realize why the El Primero has long been considered the standard in aesthetics for automatic winding center rotor chronograph calibers. The watch does feature a quick set date. It does not have hacking seconds, as that is not a traditional El Primero feature, but this watch has got everything else. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.